I gotta give you a lot of respect, man, because what you pulled off is quite something. First time movie producer, and the scale of the production, The Last Kumite, it was a pretty big project overall. And, for my time there, about 2.5 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, everything for the most part looked very smooth. They got everything that they needed. So the production essentially was very successful. And to pull that off as a first time producer is quite an extraordinary feat, man. So I got to give respect.
It's nice that you do that off camera, but thank you.
No, we're
No,
recording, man.
no, no, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey guys, in this video, the executive producer of The Last Kumite, Sean David, and I have a very fun, candid conversation about our experience in making of the film. Production is officially complete, however, the post production process still needs to be done. And with that, you guys can help contribute and support the film. Click the link, there's an Indiegogo campaign going, and of course, with any support you guys provide, there are some really cool perks associated with it. So make sure to click the link and check that out and be a part of The Last Kumite officially.
It never would have worked if we didn't have so many people who really gave it their all. Also, the actors, the extras. Yeah, I'm very grateful, but believe me, I'm still in 100% locked in game mode. I want to deliver a good movie, and yeah, we're basically we got half of what we need so far, so it's still I still can't relax.
Well, I think you got more than half, because you got to figure the pre-production is a good portion of it, and you being producer, assembling all those right people. So it's like the Avengers, assembling the right team. So
Yeah.
you did that. The production, that could, that's probably the hardest thing. Like now, you getting everybody there doing their job
Mm,
and in like a limited time, no less. That's
yes.
always hard for filmmaking. As a first-time movie producer, what's the biggest lesson you learned?
Um, don't become a movie producer.
I know you're joking because we had discussions. You have a plan for several more films. So
Yes, but I also seriously say that I have to really, I don't know what you call in English, dig deep into myself, look into myself, and see, okay, is this really something healthy that will not cancel out my life expectancy? Like I really feel like this is one of the most stressful jobs you can have
Mhm.
because you have the pressure that you got to make sure that the movie turns out well. Everybody has to show up. You have to improvise every single day. You always have to find solutions every single day. You wake up in the morning, look on your phone, and the first thing you see is like 10 messages with problems that you have to solve. um like with all the great things that come with this job, there are also some things that really, really, really are not so great. But if it all turns out to be a successful movie that people really enjoy, that would help to persuade me to continue going on in that route. If it turns out to be a shitty movie, make no money, disappoint everybody, obviously, maybe I'm not made for this. Maybe I should stick to my YouTube career.
I highly doubt it's gonna turn out bad, man. Just from we watched some of the playbacks and everything else. It's gonna be good. Now, whether it makes a lot of money, we'll do whatever we can to get the word out because we know there's demand. We just got to make sure people are aware of it, which I think we're all doing a pretty good job. So, the funny thing is talking about putting out all these like little fires and all these like little problems, man. And you were very helpful with like my little minor things because I remember, and I kind of got on the movie last minute, and it was for me like the most incredible experience ever. And
You
I'll
were
talk more
such a
about that
diva.
later. It was just such an incredible experience. I'll explain why though. I'll explain why. But just talking about like the small fires, like so when I first got there to Germany, and surprisingly, not as many people speak English as I thought. But I was able to get around for the most part, and found the people that spoke enough. But when I first got to like my hotel area, and I was trying to check in, it was a long flight, flying all day, trying to check in, and then I'm like, they're like, you're not on here. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you don't have a room. We don't know who you are. But then, I messaged you and you resolved that within like 10 minutes. So I was like, oh, thank God. It's like, so just, like even me having to bug you and a hundred other people, but you were able to resolve it like so quickly. So that was really cool, man.
Yeah, I remember your list of demands when you said that you want an all white hotel room and your curtains should be from of velvet and those kind of things. I remember
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
needs to know that David was really a diva. No, you were cool,
No,
man.
yeah,
You were
all
cool.
joking aside, man, I'm probably like the easiest one. Well, actually, everybody was cool on set, but in general, I'm just so, I think, so easy to get along with. And I don't really have the demands. The only demand, if anything, was we needed some healthier food because I
Yes,
had dieted hard. And like, there's like pizza for lunch and all this other stuff. So, it's like, oh,
yes.
I don't need this pizza bloat if we're filming the Kumite, and I'll have my shirt on. But I think it worked because I did starve myself and I actually got leaner while I was in Germany, which is all worth it for the film in the end. So
Very true, very true. The food, the food was like a mixed bag. On some days it was sensational. You had rice and chicken and all those
oh
kind of
yeah, a
things.
couple days
And
good.
this is how we started. And I was like, oh man, perfect. This is exactly what we need. But then you had days when you had burgers and pizza, and you're like, oh shoot, like you don't want anybody to enter the arena with like a huge stomach and stuff. But all in all, I think we were okay. And for the next movie, hopefully we have a bigger budget. Maybe there are some more budget can be invested in the food and so on. But yeah, we did what we
Food
could.
was good overall, and they always had like fresh fruit and vegetables and coffee, which is important, and plenty of fresh water. A lot of people in Germany drink the sparkling carbonated water now.
Yeah, it's terrible, I know.
Yeah, it's funny because that will also bloat you. That'll also bloat you. But
Yes.
overall, man, like, yeah, everything, it was such a pleasant experience. And hey, what surprised you the most? Because again, first time producer, and it's not like this is a short film. This is like a real feature with like a huge crew doing like everything.
Good question. What did surprise me the most? To be honest, because of the fact that I've been on plenty of movie sets in the past, I sort of knew what to expect from the crew size and everything. Um, there was a specific person who surprised me the most, I gotta be honest.
Hmm.
Um, like from all the stars that we had in the movie, I had personal conversations with them prior to the movie. Like Cynthia, I already had an interview with and texted a lot with. Kurt McKinney, Mohamed Kissi, Mathis Landwehr. Um, I was talking to them prior to the shoot a lot.
Sure.
Billy Blanks was the only guy who I only talked through his management. Like I didn't talk to Billy a second before the shoot, so I really didn't know what to expect. And he turned out to be the most humble, disciplined, nice guy you can imagine. And it was so cool that to see that a person at his age is still so in shape. He really prepared for his role. Like to me, I started laughing, which is it's not funny, but when he came to the set for the first days, he was so locked into his role that everybody he talked to, Billy explains his character to and explain what his motives are in his character. Like even people who didn't ask him, he was so locked into his role that this was everything he was thinking about. And I thought, okay, this is 100% what you could dream of, that somebody prepares himself so well for his role and is so locked in. And he turned out to be a great actor in the movie. I didn't know that he could act obviously when you are in fighting movies, especially in the 80s,
Mhm.
the acting is not the priority in those movies, but Billy really showed some range in the movie.
Oh, for sure. And I think for most people to have experienced that back in the day, it wasn't so much like you said his martial art movies, but he did have that role in The Last Boy Scout where he kind of
Yes.
really stuck out as like, okay, it's a good dramatic actor. The thing, yeah, Billy Blanks is such a great guy. So I have a funny story. And when we were doing the previs, right, with Mike Muller, Billy is so cool that even though he wasn't like working on his fight that day, a lot of times he would just hang out on set, like when he
Yes.
wasn't even needed. And oh, I do have to point out, one reason why he's in such good shape. Like he's literally doing Taibo seminars in Germany, like
Yes.
on some of the days he's not shooting. So the
Yes.
guy remains
Incredible.
active, moves great. But my really cool experience and story was when we were doing the previs. Billy was out there hanging out, and I was working with Lucian, and Billy gave me some tips because this guy's been in so many movies, and even Jason made the comment. He's like, "Wow, how cool is that? That literally Billy
Yes.
Blanks is kind of giving you tips." I'm just like, this is so surreal. Like I watched this guy so much growing up. Me and my brother renting movies in the movie store. Showdown, still one of my favorites. TC 2000, Talons of the Eagle, Back in Action. And it's just like, it's just the experiences. It's so unique, and I say amusing because I'm like, well, now I'm in a martial arts movie. And a lot of us growing up in that era wanted to be in a martial arts movie. Now it's like, not only am I in it and working with these guys, I'm literally getting like tips and advice from these guys, like Kurt McKinney even giving me like acting advice, because he's been acting forever. It's like I am just soaking this up like a sponge, and just like a kid in a candy store. It's like this is just like, it almost seems unreal in a lot of ways, right?
It is unreal, but and this is what made the experience for me, even with all the stress and so on, which made the experience so great for me, was to see that everybody of the stars was really supportive. Like everybody wanted this movie to do well. Everybody was pitching in with ideas, and but not pressuring you like, oh, you have to do it like this, but really trying to be helpful, coming from the right place. And um this is another reason why I really hope that this movie does well. And when I say does well, I'm not talking about making $100 million. Obviously that will not happen, but being so successful that we make enough money that we can do another movie in this niche. The dream that I have is, except for this movie to do well, is that we can make movies for our generation, or people older and younger than us that grew up on those movies, that we can supply this niche with the kind of movies that we grew up with and that we still enjoy, which we don't get from Hollywood now.
Yeah, that's true, and that's a good point. And just the fact that Cobra Kai was so popular, obviously with
Yes.
people our age, because we grew up with the Karate Kid, but with the younger audience, and then they will like explore the movies that came before the
Yes.
show. It's the same thing that happened with that movie Prey,
Yes.
the newest Predator. It's like this younger crowd really got into it, and we appreciate it for what it is too. But the younger crowd like revisits
Yes.
Arnold in the 80s, and they weren't even
Yes.
alive back then, and they like it. So, you know,
Yes.
what's old is new again. This retro thing is going to be huge. That's why I really think this movie is going to be successful, because I could speak more confident about that because I was literally there experiencing it and seeing, you know, the filmmaking process and what they shot and just the energy. So what surprised me the most was, you hear nightmares on like movies and people not getting along and that kind of stuff. This, and I don't know if this movie is just an outlier, but this was just like, man, at least with me, like, and from what I've seen with other people interacting, it's like everybody just got along so great. So that just made the experience that much more special. Because yeah, we're working hard. There's like 12-hour plus days, but and it's a lot of work and concentration and everything else. But because everybody's so like friendly and nice, it just makes it that much better.
Absolutely. And you know, I basically cast all of the actors for the movie, but I also have to give credit to my partner Wayne Graves, who hired most of the crew members, and he picked some awesome people. And you already mentioned the 12-hour days. Like, if we would have shot the movie in a normal working schedule, like 8 hours a day or 9 hours a day, there's no chance we could have finished that picture.
No.
Not a chance. So we had to work extra hours every single day just to make it happen in our time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And people didn't complain. People worked their behind off to make this movie happen. And you could see that there are so many people who really didn't care too much about the money, didn't care too much about working hours. They just want to make a great picture. And I really, really hope that, yeah, at the end, it turned out to be worth it, so that everybody feels like, okay, we created something special and made many people happy.
Oh, for sure, no doubt. And with me, like I would have been there 24 hours a day if you needed me. Like I'm like,
I know, I know, I know.
and I actually, and I know not many people had days off. I do remember, after a few days in, I had a day off, which was so weird for me because, working on YouTube, that consumes you. Like all your spare time is probably on YouTube videos, at least mine, so I never take days off. But being in Germany and doing the movie and actually having a day off, and I can't even work on my YouTube channel, because I don't have any of my equipment. It just felt so weird. I'm just like, because I work every single day, so it felt very weird for me. But I did meet up with Mike Muller and we worked out together. So it's like that was cool to kind of hang out with him. We got some lunch afterwards, but it's just such a bizarre concept for me to have a day off.
Yes, well, you used it in the right way. Getting to know Mike Muller, work out with a professional who's been working in Hollywood with some of the greatest legends like Sly and Keanu Reeves. Time well spent, I would say.
Seeing guys like that, and there's just so many people like I could say nice things about, but then I'd be talking to you for like 5 hours. But just specifically Mike Muller, the guy's been doing obviously, fight choreography for like 20 plus years, and he's very passionate. And I rode with him in his car on set, and just the conversations we have, we're literally like two kids, man. Like just that amount of enthusiasm, like two kids, right? But just seeing him work like an expert like that. Like he knows camera angles, cuts, expressions on fights, and obviously puts dynamic choreography together. It's just like you're literally watching just such a high level professional, like I would even call a genius in fight choreography work. It's very fun to watch, and then also obviously take part in it too, because I've worked with them obviously on a couple of fights in the movie. But yeah, just so many experiences like that, man. I'll never forget.
Nice, man. The one thing that I always thought that Mike Miller, or what makes Mike Miller really special, is that he's like a Swiss Army knife. Like what you already mentioned, he has a perfect eye for camera angles. He has a perfect feel for choreography. So even if it's new school or old school or a mix of both, he really knows what suits what situation. Then body language, like he pays attention to every little detail when it comes to fight choreography. So we were very, very, very fortunate to have him on board. I think without him, we really would have felt it. So we are very lucky that we have him.
Oh, for sure. And of course, because this is a tournament film, and I love pitting different styles against one another, because most movies now it's like MMA, everybody's kind of the
Yes,
same. It's boring. If you want to watch MMA, just watch MMA real fights,
yes,
you don't really need the
exactly.
movies. So this movie is so much more special in so many ways, and it's more interesting seeing the different styles. But what I will say, and obviously Bloodsport's always going to be it set the bar so high.
Yes,
Because this is a tournament film, people will make some comparisons, which is fine. The one thing I know for a fact that it will have over Bloodsport, and this is, a big thanks to Mike Muller, is there are no throwaway fights. Like every fight is good. Whereas Bloodsport, there's a lot of throwaway fights. Like the Van Damme fights are great, some of the Paco fights, some of the other fights, but there's a lot of throwaway fights that's like, This movie,
yeah,
no throwaway fights, man.
yes, very true. The one thing that I personally feel, which we would have over Bloodsport, and very, very important before I make my statement, my claim, um, there is no way we can compete with Bloodsport. Bloodsport is probably the greatest fighting martial arts movie of all time. It's personally my favorite. So I would never say that we can match Bloodsport. And that's also not our goal. Our goal is to be our own movie as an homage to those fighting movies. I mean, it's not only an homage to Bloodsport, it's Kickboxer, No Retreat, No Surrender, all those movies that we grew up with. But the one thing I personally feel where we where we're pretty strong with is the music.
Mm.
Because we have Stan Bush and Paul Herzog, who were also involved in Kickboxer and Bloodsport, and I have some of the songs already. I can seriously say the songs are so good, like literally so good, um, that I thought like, oh yes, this is something that I really don't worry about anymore. The music is covered to yeah, it's perfect. Like the two songs that I have from Stan Bush, the title song, which people heard in the first trailer, and the second one that we want to purchase at the Indiegogo campaign, which we probably will be talking about soon. Those two songs, they could have been on the Bloodsport soundtrack, and you would say, oh, they're the best songs of the soundtrack. And that says something already.
It says a lot. And I've spoken on this channel quite a bit. Obviously, you're aware, a lot of people are aware of how important the music, the soundtracks, especially from that 80s era. There was just, I don't know what it was, man, but this is the stuff people still listen to all the time when they train in the
Yes.
gym, myself included.
Yes.
Are you going to listen to a soundtrack or a score or songs from a movie, a martial arts film, say, over the last 10 years in the gym? No,
No,
you're
not at
just
all.
not. So I heard the Paul Herzog at your place in the Stan Bush songs, and I'll agree, man. This is magical, man. And that's definitely another thing this movie has. Another check mark. It's like, okay, we got the soundtrack and the music, and that's like phenomenal. A
Yes,
lot
and
of the
it's
right
so
ingredients in here.
yes, and it's so important. I really don't understand how fighting movies nowadays don't understand how important a great soundtrack is. Like it to me, it feels like they don't whether they don't care or if it's that they don't understand or if they don't find the right people to make the music. But to me, all those fighting movies, even movies like Rocky, for example, Rocky never would have been as successful if the music wasn't as great. Bloodsport,
100%.
Bloodsport, same thing. Yeah, Kickboxer, same thing. Even No Retreat, No Surrender, there are two songs in there. And obviously, we in Germany we have a different title song than you guys in the States. But over here, everybody who watched the No Retreat, No Surrender movies, they all sing that one title song, and it's so
Mhm.
important. So, yeah, as I said, this is the one thing that I'm 100% sure that we are safe and there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, yeah. And I would hope other filmmakers are like aware, but maybe they just couldn't execute for whatever reason. Like they got to know how important and how special those soundtracks were, especially if someone's making fight films these days. But knowing that and actually creating and executing, getting the right people and putting it together, that's a whole other obstacle, man.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, so what would you say was your funnest experience on set?
Does it have to be on set or could it be
Just for the
in?
production, could have been pre, could have been during, could have been just in with the film. A moment, if you could recall that, it just brought so much joy to yourself. I know there's probably a lot of moments, but one specifically, maybe you remember.
Okay, I have to mention two. One during the production at the set, and one on a separate day where we had an off day and we got to spend some time with the cast. So during the shoots, I would have to say my most fun experience was actually a day where we were shooting the Kumite, and I saw how good it looked on camera.
Mm,
And it was the first time when I saw when I really saw like, okay, the location that I found works, the fighters that I picked worked, um because you have to understand, because we didn't have so much budget to have this super large pre-production team. I ended up having to do a lot by myself, like finding locations. I didn't find every single location by myself, but most of them. And I was traveling throughout the country and other countries to find that kumite arena. I wanted to have a location which really looks like yeah, it looks believable and doesn't look like a normal fighting gym. And but of course you can never be sure.
mhm.
And then when I saw it for the first time on camera, I thought, oh, hallelujah. And it was such a relief, because if that location would have been crap, we would have been in trouble.
For sure, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, the film is literally called The Last Kumite.
Yes.
Obviously, the
Yes.
Kumite that's gonna either make or break the film. And there's a lot of other great scenes and great settings that take place outside the Kumite. But yeah, at the end of the day, somebody watches, somebody buys, somebody rents The Last Kumite. That has to stand out. And I agree, like it stood out in such a great way. So
Yes.
and that's gonna
Yes.
make or break the film at the end of the day. That and a few
Absolutely.
other things. But yeah, so
The second one, still got
oh
the second
yeah,
one?
yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
second
The second one was I had an off day and I met with Matthias Hus, Mathis Landwehr, Kurt McKinney, Cynthia Rothrock, Jason, and Mohamed Kissi.
Mm.
And they were all at my place signing autographs for the Kickstarter and Indiegogo campaign. And after that, we went to lunch, and we had so much fun. You have to understand that most of those guys that or not most of them, all of them, including Billy Blanks, forgot Billy, they are all so much fun. And Matthias, for example, he's an entertainer. He loves to crack jokes.
Yeah.
You would never know that from his movie appearances, when he always looks so evil and mean, but he's a super fun guy. And we were making fun of each other, making fun of each other's movies, and it was such a great time, and that showed me that yeah, we really picked the right people for the movie. I'm so happy and so grateful that it turned out to be those guys, because they were locked in from day one, and they were super nice, and everybody was so dedicated. So that was a great moment.
Yeah, for sure, man. Speaking of Matthias Hughes, I've spoken to quite a few people that know him or interacted with him, and they'd all say the same thing. This is just like the sweetest, nicest guy, even though he's like always like the ultimate movie villain, right? But me meeting him in person, and I interviewed him prior to ever meeting him in person. But yeah, I'll be another guy that says the same thing. It's like, yeah, this is like the sweetest, nicest guy. He's funny. Now, there was an interesting story he told me and Jason, and I'm still trying to figure out if he was joking or if he was serious, because he never broke if he was joking. Like, he talked about seeing a UFO from the hotel room in Hamburg and explained everything, but there was also a report that he was reading. There was like that crazy green fireball thing in Vegas, and it apparently like crashed and landed in someone's backyard. And there were reports of like these 9 or 10 foot aliens. Like that's been all over the news. I don't know if that's real or not.
Terrified members of a local family who told police they had aliens in their backyard.
A story like that's gotta be true.
So I don't know if that inspired him to create his own story or if he legitimately seen something. I'm still trying to figure out like the thing. You could ask Jason about it, because he was talking about it for like a half hour. I'm just like,
Okay, that has to
like
be
messing with us, or
he has to be for real, because there's no joke that goes on for 30 minutes.
yeah, that's what I was saying. He never broke like, okay, I'm just playing, guys.
So that's intriguing. I mean, the plot thickens.
Well, then Matthias Hughes saw an UFO.
Yeah, there you go, man.
There you go.
Anyway, you want to talk about the whole post-production process and then the reason behind this new campaign with Indiegogo?
Yes, sure. Now, currently, we are at the process that we shot the entire movie. And just like I was putting together the cast for the movie, now I'm in the process of putting the post-production crew together. We are still missing the finances for that. But what do I mean by post-production? Now, as you probably know, when you shoot a movie or if you shoot anything, there is color grading involved at the end, so that the picture looks a specific way. And our goal is, even though we didn't shoot on film because it's not affordable for us, but we try to have a specific look that comes as close as it gets to an old school film with the color grading.
Nice.
Which costs a lot of money, but we just feel like I don't know what you think, but I personally see that most movies nowadays, they all look so plain, like the color is so vain that it all looks, it all looks the same. There's no nice color. It's not appealing to the eye, and I personally really don't like that. That's why I like movies from back in the days where colors were brighter and the color was stronger. So that's the look that we try to get as close as possible.
Film looks way better.
Yes.
100%, man.
Then the sound mixing, obviously, you need to have a great sound, and this is also something that is so important. And I really hope that we can get the right sound people and to make the movie sound well, because to us it would be so heartbreaking if we gave 100% with the movie and everybody was doing their best on set, and then at the end the movie is only 50% great because we couldn't afford the right sound. would just break my heart.
Oh yeah,
So
of course, dude. Sound will make or break a film. That's even look the color grading, the film look. Yeah, I mean, it needs that. It deserves that. But if you had to pick or choose, man, like sound design and quality, like that is what really separates the really professional films from kind of like more of the amateur stuff. Like you
yes.
need that great sound design.
Yes, exactly. So that's also very important. Then the movie will be edited by Oliver Harper, who some of you guys might know from his YouTube channel and his documentary, The Last was it called
Last Action Heroes or something like that?
In Search of the Last Action Hero.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So he will be editing, but he also needs to get paid, obviously. So those are the steps that we are looking forward to do. And as I said, I'm assembling a team for that. I'm getting quotes to see, okay, what are the price ranges. But in order to do that, we needed to have a second crowdfunding campaign, which will be running, or which is running right now on Indiegogo. As some of you might know, the first campaign we had was on Kickstarter, where we raised a good portion of the money, which really helped us. Thanks again for all the backers again. But with the Indiegogo campaign, yeah, we need to raise at least 70,000 euros, which is approximately $80,000, so that we can have a basic package of for the post-production. Basic.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, we'll get the word out as best we can. Guys, you can click the link and support the Indiegogo, and you'll get great perks. So not only will you support the film, you're going to obviously get something for yourself, something very nice. I don't even have one of the. Well, shit, I gotta contribute to the Indiegogo now because I don't even have one of these shirts.
Oh, you need one. Everybody needs one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people ask me, "Hey,
Yeah.
how do I get a shirt?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't even have one, man. But hey, you could get one from the Indiegogo, guys. That's how you get
Exactly.
one. That's how.
Yeah. But also, there are also some other amazing perks. Now, for the people who always wanted to be an executive producer, you can basically pledge for an executive producer credits, also which will also be on IMDb and be seen in the movie. Signed posters with all the legends on one poster. This is something
Wow.
like for collectors and people who really want the real thing. I mean, how many chances in life would you get to have Billy Blanks, Kurt McKinney, Cynthia Rothrock, Matthias Hughes, and all the guys on one poster? So that you can get. The movie soundtrack is available. Separate autographs from the cast are available. Associate producers. So there are so many great things, and you have to understand this movie is a project by fans for fans. So we are basically all doing this project together. Everybody who's chipping in, you are a part of the family. You are part of the people who want to make this movie happen. And yeah, let's do it together. We're so close to finalize this movie, man.
Yeah, the finish line's right here, and it is important because obviously people watch my channel because make the 80s and 90s great again, you know, talking about these movies. And we had created, you know, I'm so thankful to having played a part, by the way. That's why I say we. And you know, me, you, and so many other people help create something that basically hasn't been done for like 40 years, you know,
Yes.
and it's the right time for it. So there is a demand for this film, and it's going to be very special. So it's very important for everybody to obviously watch it and buy it when it comes out. But you know, if you want to give that little extra push, it is great to help the final process. Just you know, because it proves that there is a demand. Like I know there's a demand, and I know people want to see it. But if you could just help, because like Sean said, it's for fans by fans, and you will literally be helping the creation.
Support the movie, be part of the Last Kumite family. Let's make this happen, and let's make sure that this is not the only old school martial arts movie in the future. If Hollywood doesn't give us what we want, we got to do it ourselves.
Oh, for sure. And one last comment I'll make, because I had a lot of people like reach out, you know, like as if I have any say. They're like, "Hey, I want put me in the movie." I'm like, well, for one, I don't really have the power to just put people in the movie. For two, like the production is finished, so who's in the movie is in the movie. But I always tell them, look, you support the movie. If it's successful, which I think it will be, there will more than likely be a sequel. Very likely. I don't want to give away the ending or anything, but you know, maybe they set things up, maybe they don't. But support the movie because it's going to have more opportunities for other people to be involved in different aspects of the sequel and anything else you do. I know you're talking about like an American Ninja movie. and all kinds of other things.